Tuesday of the month. The Board of Education is a body of school district residents elected by the community and charged with conducting school-related business. The meetings are conducted under the open meeting law, but are not open forums for the community. With that being said, visitors to these meetings are to conduct themselves properly and with respect to any other individuals at the meeting. The Board of Education reserves the right to remove any individual for improper display of behavior or inappropriate language. The Board of Education will have a period of time devoted to visitor requests following any board presentations and the approval of the minutes shortly after the opening of the meeting. Individuals wishing to address the board will be permitted to speak up to 3 minutes. A total of 30 minutes may be allowed for public comment. Directions for addressing the Board of Education: state your name and address for the record. This will allow us to send information to you if the need should arise. Be concise so your message can be delivered in the 3-minute time frame. This will give others the opportunity to be heard. Discussions involving individual district personnel or students are not permitted in public session. Matters involving district personnel or students should be addressed with the administration and not during board meetings. All speakers are to conduct themselves in a civil manner. Obscene language, libelous statements, threats of violence, and statements invoking racial, religious, or other forms of prejudice will not be tolerated. The board is present to hear your comments tonight. Generally, the board will not respond on the spot, providing time to gather factual and accurate information. However, if a response is warranted, they will direct the superintendent to respond in an appropriate manner and report back to the board. We thank you for your input and comments and encourage you to attend the board meetings on a regular basis. With that, let's do the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Zila?
Here.
Mrs. Emerson?
Here.
Mr. Davis?
Present.
Mr. Swell?
Here.
Mrs. Benjamin?
Here.
Mrs. Thompson?
Here.
And Mr. Fuller is not here.
Who is not here tonight? All right. With that, we are going to kick off presentations. We have up first a capital project update.
Okay. Good evening, everybody.
Michael.
We are almost to the finish line, believe it or not.
On a completed track.
Wild.
Ooh,
wild.
So, what we've got, we'll just do a quick overview of where we're at. We're starting off with, this is the varsity hardball field. The last 2 weeks we've been putting down turf. The turf is completed. The field is not complete yet. They've got peripheral work that they have to use, miscellaneous grading. But that's where we're at with that. So I'm going to just give you a little idea of where things are. So for phase 1 of the capital project, we're finishing up the high school chemistry, biology, science, physics, science rooms. Finishing up the pool filtration system down in the basement. We're finishing up elementary school renovations, carpeting. We've already installed the carpet. That's completed. We're awaiting glass delivery. The glass isn't going to be here till the 4th, so we'll be scurrying to get that in. The east end main entrance paving, I know that was brought up at the last board meeting. We did find the funds to be able to do that. So we're going to be doing that starting milling 8/24, and we're going to be completed by 9/3. Talking with Matt, we need to get done by 9/2, so I've got to talk with, or prior to 9/2, I got to talk with the contractor, see what we can do to make that happen. And then we've got, we're also going to be installing the plastic-coated chain link fencing around the retention ponds. That was brought up at the last meeting as well, and we did find some funding for that. So we are moving forward with that. That'll happen hopefully by the time school is in on the 8th. We're hoping to get that in. Phase 2 project, the spend down project, the varsity softball synthetic turf has been installed, as well as the hardball. We're feathering the grade into the from the infield to the turf areas, and the remaining retention ponds, we're going to be constructing those and installing the new fencing on the old posts. So we're on target to get that done by the 8th of September as well. Varsity, the high school boys and girls bathrooms were scheduled to be completed by the 4th. There's been a lot of challenges with that, just a lot of unforeseen issues, some tile issues, things like that. But we've got them under control, and things are looking good to get it done by the 4th. And then we also have a power shutdown going on the 24th of August through the 27th. The main power will be shut off. Jared will be getting the emergency generators up and running to make sure we do have power throughout the buildings while the switchgear is being replaced. It's a three-day process. There's quite a bit of work that needs to be done.
It's a switchgear, Mike. What is a switchgear, Mike? Sorry.
Switchgear is it's the main switch coming in. You have the transformer that comes in from the main power source. It goes to the transformer. From the transformer, it goes to the switchgear. It's like a large circuit breaker.
Yeah.
And then from there, it goes to sub-panels to the main panels within each building, and from the main panels, it goes to the sub-panels throughout.
So it's the replacement of the...
It's a replacement of the existing switchgear. The existing switchgear is antiquated, and there was also an issue with the wiring going from the main switchgear back to the high school. It wasn't a safe situation, and that's another reason why it was replaced to do all that work.
Is this a lateral upgrade, or is it something that, there's new safety features on it, or is it just a switch box?
It's a lateral upgrade, but
Okay.
There would be, the technology is advanced, so
Okay.
you do have, more safety features on
Good.
it.
Thank you.
During that window, is the district being advised to maybe refrain from using? I know it looks like the generators are going to be providing energy, but is the rest of the district being asked to minimize energy usage during that time, or is it functioning usual?
It's functioning as normal.
Yeah, the generators are strong enough to power each building.
So it's not affecting if people want to come in and use the space, or teachers or whomever is in the building
And it's
won't
not like
disrupt
it's,
anything?
everybody
Cool.
in the district's going to
Good.
be here, so,
Yeah.
it'll be fine.
And I do have Penn Power coming on site tomorrow 2 p.m. All 3 units, just to make sure they are running well, and they'll be here on site the morning of the shutdown, so that if there is any issues with the startup, there's at least a tech on site.
Thank you.
So that's what I've got. I'm going to go through some photos, but everything is looking good. A few weeks ago we were all nervous. Things are starting to come together. So we're going to have this completed by the opening of school, and it'll be business as usual. And hopefully everybody won't be interfered with like they've been the last 2 years. So that'll be nice. So just going to kind of show you some photos of what's been going on. This is at the elementary school. All these, and I won't touch the screen, all these windows were replaced and new fiberglass is going in. And then up above here, that was all open, and it's been, metal studs were put up there, and it's infilled for fire rating. So that's been done. And just a note, the glass is coming the 4th of September, so like I say, they'll do whatever they got to do to get it in by the opening of school. This is the new carpeting that was put in the elementary classrooms. There's 5 classrooms that were affected that we worked on.
Are those tiles, carpet tiles?
Carpet tiles,
Awesome.
yes. And that's Kinetics. That's the
Great.
brand name, and that's what's used throughout the school, and it's been wearing well. So.
And do you leave extras behind so
There
that if
will
we
be,
need to
yes,
replace
there
it?
will be added stock.
Okay,
So,
great.
and then again, here's just a photo of what was going on up above sealing the infills at the elementary school. Then the fields, the varsity, this is the varsity softball field. Like I say, the turf is completed at both. That just gives you an idea. This is the baseball field. Just beautiful, beautiful fields. I think everybody will enjoy utilizing them. Then we go to the high school girls' bathrooms. I didn't take a picture of the men's. They're in the process of working on that, and there was a lot of stuff, so it was congested. But this is the what both bathrooms are going to look like. One of the things, the tile that's going to be on the what they call the wet wall, where the toilets are, it's going to be all blue, dark blue. So just to give you an idea, three sides of the room are this color or this pattern, and things are going well here. Like I say, it's the bathrooms. We had 2 months to complete the bathrooms. It was a big undertaking, but everybody has come together. We still have the ceilings left to put in. We've got some radiant panels to go in there. We're waiting for those to show up. But other than that, we've got all the materials, all the toilets, all the partitions, toilet partitions to get things done. And that's just the same women's, just looking at the other end. And then we go to the high school science rooms. This is the biology science room, just to give you an idea. We're looking to turn this over to Jared so he can get things waxed and set up. I think Thursday is the date. So we're in good shape. Like I say, a few weeks ago we were concerned, but things have come together nicely. And we've got a great group of people, not only from the school, from the contractors, from the design team. We're all working together, and I think it's been one of the best jobs in my career that I've dealt with, coordinating and working together. So, and then we have the earth science biology storage room. That's between earth science and biology. Just to give you an idea what that looks like. And this was an area where we had abatement. There was asbestos tiles and everything in the room that was next to the window. So there was a 2-week delay. There was asbestos tile throughout the science rooms. There was a 2-week delay, and in turn, that's why we're pushed to the limit. This area is being delivered 2 weeks later than I wanted it to. I wanted to have it done by the end of August, so Jared had a little bit more time, but it just with the loss of 2 weeks, we needed all the time we could. Then this is the earth science room. As you can see, tiles down. We got the epoxy countertops in. All the faucets are on. Shelving, things like that. Same thing here. This is the physics room. Just to give you an idea, pretty much the same. Then we go to the chemistry room. The chemistry room is a little different. It's got an epoxy floor, which is a beautiful floor, and it's a beautiful space. I know that everybody that's utilizing these spaces are going to like them. And this is the chemistry storage room in between the chemistry and the biology room. And then we've got the pool. We were able to, as you see right here, the pool has been completed. I'm going to go to the next picture. We installed new drains here in order to meet the code. Plus, all the piping and stuff was all rotted out underneath the pool. So the new drains got put in. The tile got put in. The new tile around it. I think it's a pretty good match. I think once you get water in it, you'll never even notice that it was replaced. But Watson Pool did all that work. They did a great job. We're in the process of working in the electricians are working in the filter room to get all the power up and running, and we're looking to get the pool filled before school starts, but we still have to commission it, so it may be a little bit longer before we can get people in there. And we have to get the Department of Health out to sign off on it.
So aside from, the aesthetics that went into this, functionality-wise, what improvements should we notice as a result of the piping and everything else?
I think just the new filtration system itself is going to give a better, cleaner pool. And like I say, the new sump drains, they meet the latest code. What was on there was a Band-Aid. I guess there was a law, I don't know how many years ago, that was brought up that with the smaller pipe and the drains the way they were, you could get sucked down.
The suction, yeah.
They had a child downstate gets actually sucked to the bottom and passed away because of that. So now you've got the latest and greatest drains. The only issue that we've got is down the road. The gutter system is going to have to be replaced. We've got a little bit of rust in some of the areas, and Watson had mentioned that it really is going to need to be replaced down the road.
Okay.
And we had a price of I think $250,000 to replace them from them. And that's what I've got. Any questions? Okay.
What day are you packing your stuff and you're out of here?
What time are we going to get out of here?
Yeah, what day are you packing your stuff and you're out?
We're looking to get out by the middle of September. Our contract actually ends August 31st.
Yeah.
But we're going to be here. We live the job, so I'm only a phone call away. Jacob, he's the superintendent. He'll be here for the month of September just to make sure we get all the commissioning done, all the punch list stuff done, things like that.
So there really shouldn't be anything really as far as construction going on in the school when the kids get back.
No, we'll be doing some punch list things like
punch
that
list
once
stuff,
school
okay.
starts.
Nothing major.
And if it affects anybody, we'll be doing it on a second shift basis. If we can get in or early in the morning before school starts.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Mike. You've been great to work with.
Well, thank you. It's been a
Yeah.
pleasure working with this district. Like I say, I really enjoyed it.
Do you have a next project lined up at all, Mike?
I do actually. I'm going to. I'm kind of right now starting a project out at Barker. I'm helping out there, and it's about 5 minutes from home. So, and that's going to be the last job I do. So I'm going to retire. I'm going to start Social Security in March. I'll be working part time for a year out there. So.
And taking care of clocks.
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So.
I also saw that your company was making a donation towards the food for the opening
Yes.
day, so thank you for
Yeah.
that.
Oh, you're welcome.
Thank you.
You know,
Thank
It's
you.
very kind.
Thank you very much. And like I say, I'm always available. I'm only a phone call away. And like with Chase, we don't. Even though the job's done, we're still here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Take care.
Take care. See ya.
See you.
I feel like he's been such a part of our world for so long.
I know.
It's going to be weird not to see him.
He's been great to work with too.
I like it.
All right, next we have Mr. Peterson with a portrait of a graduate. We're excited to see this.
Yes.
Good stuff.
Every clock I see it, I should find it.
All right, so what got me down this pathway to talk about graduation requirements, I almost feel like when I start here, I need to apologize because when I come full circle to what I wanted to speak to you about at the end of this, it is a really simple request or recommendation. So that's apology number one. It's a lot of stuff for a simple request. But the second apology is that this is more lengthy than other presentations I've done. So my apologies on both fronts. But as I dug into this more and more and I start to look at graduation requirements, there's a story to tell here, and I want to make sure this is a good opportunity for us to just come together and just kind of make sure we're all on the same page about where we are, how we got here, and ultimately where we're going. So I start with this. This is not a phrase that anyone's unfamiliar with, the portrait of a graduate. I think no matter what realm of education you're in, you know that this is coming. These posters hanging up all over the place. But when you look at what's going to change as a result, that gets you thinking about graduation requirements and where we are and where we need to be. So I almost feel like I want to take a step back and just talk a little bit of how we got here. The commission, the Blue Ribbon Commission, which was formed in 2019, I think was different than most initiatives that come from state ed. And the difference was the extent to which they listened to stakeholders, formed groups. They did it the right way. There's so often I've been in this business for 30 years, oh great, another initiative coming down from state ed, and you almost roll your eyes and cringe at the thought of it. But what they have done here is learn from past mistakes, got the right people together, and really took this thing to the people in the state that would be affected. And we're not just talking students and parents, but there's business leaders that were represented on this commission. Thousands and thousands of people either participated in person or by offering their opinions online. And I thought it was a pretty comprehensive search. But this is, way back in 2019, what came out of that was this idea of this New York Inspires plan. And what came out of that really is 4 transformations. And these are things I think you've heard of, but we're coming to a point where we're going to have to start to make changes here within our schools. So the move to one diploma. Currently, students can earn a local diploma. They could earn an advanced Regents diploma. They could earn just a Regents diploma. The changes that are coming is to move to just one diploma. Within that, there's an opportunity, and there's not much guidance on this yet, but I'll get into this extensively throughout the presentation here, of how we redefine credits. And again, if I'm talking to you today about graduation requirements and how our kids get there, ultimately the conversation comes back to credits and what they're taking and why they're taking it. This made the news more than the other transformational shifts, and that's just the phasing out of the Regents exams. People wondered where they were going. Would they be going away entirely? Eventually, those will phase out. That was a major shift, and then, of course, the portrait of the graduate itself. So the committee, after speaking with just about everyone with an opinion on this, comes together. They produced these 4 major shifts, and then kind of said, it's coming, so brace yourselves and learn as much as you can. And I'm just highlighting here the ideas that come from what they have designed, a portrait of a graduate. And no one in here would, I think, look at these things and say, well, who doesn't want this? This is good stuff. We all agree that we want our kids to graduate being able to demonstrate these things. They've refined it. When it first came out, I think there were 9 attributes. They've combined some. So we know that the Board of Regents has adopted this, but there's still some guidance that we're waiting for. So all that being said, just to look at where we are within the window here of the changes that are coming, we're right in the middle of the window that I've highlighted here. So some of the things they said are coming have been released. Some of the guidance that they said would be released still has not yet been done so, and I expect it will this year. Like, for example, you see there the release of rubrics and guidance. That has not been released just yet. So we're right in the middle of the window that I have here, but the changes are going to come quick. This is a different timeline. I actually stole this from a district. I can't remember which one, but I like the way they packaged it on their website. What you see here, and I'll grab the mouse to highlight, that outside of our current seniors, that's the seniors coming into school this year, they are untouched by any of these changes, but every other grade in our building will be. So all current 11th graders, 10th graders, 9th graders, in some capacity, will have some changes come their way prior to their graduation. There's by my math, about a 3-year phase in here. So starting with this year's 11th graders, the Regents exams will be phased out. That's the biggest shift. But what we'll have to start to ask ourselves, and I have questions I pose throughout here, is what will we do to replace those Regents exams? Because the current 8th graders, you start to see them here. That's when the real changes start to take place. So when they hit their cohort year, and that's the year they enter 9th grade, that's why that's listed on here as well, because there's some confusion when you hear cohort, this is starting in cohort 26 or 27. That's the year in which they hit their 9th grade year. But starting with next year's 8th graders, the clock is ticking here towards graduation. So they're coming quick. We have time to implement some of the changes I'll discuss here, but here we are. Outside of this year's seniors, we need to be ready to act. So when we look at this from afar, as leaders, I think what we need to do is ask ourselves some questions, really at three main levels. How will it affect what we do, our processes, our systems? How will it impact what teachers do, who are doing the heavy lifting here? And then how will it impact what our students experience as they go through our hallways? So, and I'll answer those, I think, individually, but then dig deeper as we go here. So the biggest change that I can see coming for schools and systems is the graduation structures. We'll have to have a measure of flexibility. It won't just be pass the 5 regents, earn your credits, off you go. So there's a lot within that. I'll dig into it. When I talk about pathways and local assessments and what those might look like. For teachers, they'll have to learn to assess in different ways. This is the biggest change for teachers. This is going to be a big part of the lift that we'll have to do. It will be beyond the pen and paper tests. It's going to be more authentic, real-world, project-based, and there's a lot of work that's going to need to go into that just to support teachers to be able to do that, because it's different. And then for students, I think this is all good, although I think it's also more work, so there may be some balking at their end. You know, some kids who are super bright can show up, sit in the class, remember what the teacher told them, regurgitate it on a test, and off they go. This is going to be more involved, but ultimately, to produce those things that the portrait is saying we're promising, right? Critical thinkers, people to communicate. This is the kind of experiences that our students will need. So put together, there's a lot here. But I want to tackle these maybe individually. But start by saying, if you're panicking, don't. We've done a lot already. I mean, our teachers have been informed about these changes right from the start. You know, it's not just informal emails with updates sent or even faculty meetings, but right from the start, we were doing surveys, even before they shifted the attributes and packaged them. Our teachers were reflecting on it. I think there were 9 then. You know, what are we doing well here? What might we need areas of growth to focus on? So just an opportunity to reflect on what's coming, going back several years. That continued into last year. So this won't be new for anybody. We're ahead of the game. When I talk to other teachers and other districts and other leaders, I think we're doing more. But still a lot to do, because this is really the bulk of where I want to take our attention here, is to expand on what these new credit requirements might look like as we prep for these changes that are going to be coming. So back to the question, how will it impact our schools? I think we'll have to redefine what it means to be proficient in any particular class, or even upon graduation. If the Regents exams are going away, well, what does it look like to be proficient in, say, geometry if I don't choose to take that exam? How can we provide these real, authentic, hands-on opportunities to engage in the learning and then demonstrate it? So that to me is exciting, but there's a lot to figure out there. Seals and endorsements and pathways. These will be the methods by which students choose to meet graduation requirements. I'm going to take my credits, but I'm going to focus on a pathway that suits my needs and my interests and puts me out there in the real world to demonstrate that. So this is the biggest impact I can see coming to schools, but it's interesting to imagine what it might look like if a student, say, takes the STEM pathway, right? We can envision that they're going to meet the requirements, but they'll be sequencing their electives so that they're taking the science courses, the technology courses, the math courses, that's going to put them in an opportunity to demonstrate that through some sort of capstone, some sort of project. So, you know, it's kind of cool to envision what that might look like. I know we just bought a bunch of drones that our 6th graders are going to be working with, but you can imagine someone when they graduate high school choosing this pathway and saying, well, I'm going to take the courses that's going to allow me to work with a local farmer, monitor their fields, spray the crops. I mean, that to me, that's geometry, that's ag, that's tech, all being packaged towards a pathway that has a real-world application.
Can I ask a question, Matt?
Of course, yeah.
So right now our guidance counselors are the ones that are sitting down with the students. They're coming up with schedules.
Yes.
And so when we shift to this, that means that our guidance counselors are going to have to know all of this and then some, right? Because
Yes.
it's going to be almost tailored to the student.
Yes.
So it's more individualized, which is a heavier lift than just saying, okay, this is the path you take when you get to 9th grade or 10th
Right.
grade. So I guess my question is, what does that training look like for them?
Good.
So that
Let me-
they can,
I think
You're
I
getting there?
touch on that
Okay.
a little bit, and then when that comes up, if it doesn't fully answer, just let me know
Okay.
and I'll elaborate on it. But there's some work that needs to be done, but I think there's some good plans in place
okay.
because there is a lot. So I mentioned
It's so
I
individualized.
mentioned, and these, by the way, these pathways currently exist at the state level, but there's not a lot of schools that have pursued them because when they were launched back in 2016, it was sort of a bypass to the regions. Well, if you couldn't pass all the regions, here's a way you could get around them. But if you go dig in, and I could take hours here, and I won't, but it's already longer than probably you want it to be. To get, say, the STEM pathway, or the arts pathway, you would have to take an AP exam or an IB and a National Baccalaureate exam. And if you're not passing one of the 5 regions, you're not taking those. So these pathways were well intended. It's just no one pursues them unless you're a larger school or a career tech. So when I looked, because I was curious, and I polled my principal group, like, how many of you are doing this? And a lot of people think they're doing it, but then I got the list from the state of who is. No one's doing it.
So there's some autonomy in these groups or pathways. Like
there is. This is the concept that I think is going to be born into something that's more practical.
Like we could tailor it to a lot more of what we might have in our area or whatnot. Like if it's foods type of things, or you know what I mean. Again, I didn't.
What held this back? This was 2016. Is that you still had those Regents exams to pass?
Yeah.
And students were like, "Well, I don't need. Do I need it? No. Okay, tell me what I need." And then you could go on to get the advanced designation, which is what most of them pursued. But no one was really offering these unless they were a bigger school. I think Brockport's ahead of the game with this. Alden, I learned, has some within their CTE, so I'm in touch with them just to see how they launched it.
So kids would have to take electives to kind of fill their like desire to have some sort of interest.
Yeah.
But sometimes that elective wouldn't do anything to help.
It's not a random, give me 5, how many electives do I need?
Right.
Which ones have I taken? Here, I need to sequence them in a way
and then
that
they can't
makes
fit
sense
things
towards
in their
a specific
schedule,
pathway.
and then it's just like, you got to get the basic stuff first so kids don't get the
It feels like
choices.
junior college, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Like,
This is the future.
Yeah.
Even though it's rooted in what they tried already, this is why when I say, well, how will it affect our schools? This is one of the biggest ways.
So
And I think it's exciting.
Yeah.
It is, but how early does a student have to adopt one of these, like choose their pathway if they're going to choose?
Again, hypothetical because we're still waiting on all the guidance.
Yeah.
But I would see you'd really be focusing on a particular pathway when you started to hit 9th grade. That's when the clock really ticks. But they're asking us to track this in elementary school. So to start really early and then update it accordingly. So there's a lot that goes into it. And again, I think we're doing all right.
How would you balance that? Just kind of knowing like how it is a struggle right now to just spread kids, across all the classes in a grade, to where, you have, say, 90% of our kids say, "Oh, I want to do the STEM pathway." So how do we balance that with trying to be?
You'd have to be careful. We get 9th graders or 10th graders even now who say, "Well, I want to take business math." And if it works, and if there's seats, and we can make it work, then we do so. But oftentimes, you just set the preference to the older upperclassmen, and when they're out of seats, they wait until the next year. But in a school our size, I think there'll be some coordination.
And one of the things you're going to see is the state hasn't shifted too much on some of the basics that they're going to require kids to take no matter what. So it's not like your 9th grader has to pick and they're going to not take all the things they used to take. No difference like when you go to college and they say your first 2 years everyone's taking the same thing and then you start to trickle down. It's kind of the same thing as they're going to start to veer into these pathways and they start to pick electives. But they're still going to they might not have to take the regions in the math, but they're still going to have to take the math. They're not going to have to take the regions if they don't choose to test out in the English, but they're still going to have to take the English. So when Matt gets to the credits, you're going to see they never backed off on the credit.
And this isn't a no holds barred either. You choose wherever you want to go. There are
There's still going to be the basic requirements. So a 9th grader's not going to be able to say, you know what, I want to do CTE, so I'm not taking any maths, any English. It's not going to work that way.
And I told you that I would come back to the credits at the end, because at the end it's like, oh, that's a pretty simple recommendation. But I kind of wanted to get us to how we got there, because you're right, they're still taking algebra in 9th grade.
Nor would we want them to do that, because 9th grade's pretty early to start saying, I don't want to take any math or English or any of those.
But I think it's fun to envision like what it might look like. Like you think of the arts kid, that's their interest, and now you're taking the theater arts, and the music arts, and the fine arts, and it ends with a culmination of you doing some sort of portfolio or art exhibit like that. I think that's cool.
How do they change? I'm sorry, Matt.
I was just going to say, I could go all over the place just envisioning this, but the Shark Tank, that show on TV. Imagine a business pathway where he's taken all the courses and then it culminates with a pitch, like to a group of people that have to decide if it's financially feasible. Like those are cool things. And then again, sky's the limit. We are doing already, by the way. We're doing the Seal of Civic Readiness. So in essence, that's a pathway in and of itself.
Right.
And we're going to offer the Biliteracy Seal this year. Again, it's its own pathway, more manageable. Right now, we put it on their transcript, and it's an experience that they enjoy. I think that'll be more the norm. So when we look at this, and I just created this as an example. Here is a student who's going to take the Seal of Civic Readiness. It's mostly juniors and seniors here. I love the way this kind of demonstrates how it marries the coursework, right? I have to take global. I have to take U.S. history. I have to take 2 other courses. And it marries it with the participation piece, the civic mindedness. And once you earn so many points, you've earned the seal, and you get that when our kids here do a capstone project, and they present. Like, that's authentic stuff. And I see these pathways mirroring this process. And again, next year we will add a second with the biliteracy. We actually are behind on that one. A lot of schools are already doing that, but we've had some transition in the Spanish department. So we're trying to. I think we have the right person in place now. She has experience doing that. She says we could give her a year to do some homework. We'll be launching that next year, and it'll completely take over for what we used to call the advanced designation because you needed the 3 language requirement. The Seal of Biliteracy will totally take that over. So that's the pathways, how as I see them. No guidance yet. It's officially saying that's where we're going, but this is what all signs are pointing to. So when you think about how you're going to do that, because that's super ambitious, I think you have to land on this next question, well, how do we prepare our staff to do it? So the way I see it, and I told our staff in this room this past May at a faculty meeting, how I see the biggest change for them is this performance-based learning. So they'll have to have some training to go beyond the state assessments as they were formerly, like the Regents exam, and turn those into projects that have this real-world application. And I provided examples with them. People who have more experience in this than I are going to work with our teachers and help them with that. But this is the biggest shift I see coming for teachers. So we spent some time dealing with this. I asked the departments to do a SWOT analysis. Like how ready are you to jump into project-based learning and assessment? And I think the SWOT, I'm just presenting it here more for the audience who might watch this later. I know you guys have done a SWOT when we did the Ale Breve, but it's just really a creative way to reflect and to envision where you might go. So where are we strong, where are we weak, where could we grow on this, what are the threats? And each department did this. I boiled it down considerably because I didn't want to bore you with a bunch of bullet points because it was there's a lot. So the full summary I can provide you, but generally speaking, what I took out of it is that our teachers are ready. They think we are, to an extent, already doing this. They're ready to take another step in this direction, but there's a lot of concerns. Like, is the state really going in this direction? What if they change their mind? We haven't had a lot of confidence with other state initiatives in the past. How will we be prepared for this? So the concerns are valid, but they're ready. Like they've done some of this. So we have to be ready to support the teachers. So my focus of this year will be it's a learning year. This isn't like some major implementation and we're going to change everything. It's going to look and feel very normal around here. Teachers are going to get some training. I'm super excited about this. Through our school improvement team, we've already signed up. Each department chair +1 in the core, and we had math, but they had some turnover at POCEs. So as of now, I don't have this partnership with math, but we're working on it. So they're going to attend a year-long training that's going to provide on-the-job coaching on how to implement this in your classroom, how to take standard assessments and rework them. They're going to get this, and it's a year-long training, and I couldn't be happier about it. So that actually started last June, where the participants participated in the webinar, and then it's going to hit right out of the gates in September. It's going to be the first meeting. So they'll come back to their departments, and it is just the core. It's not like it's every content area, but some turnkey within the core. It's a pretty good spot to start. And then, we'll talk later tonight about the workplace coordinator. I think that plays a role in this as well. Putting our kids in contact with local businesses, authentic experiences. This is how I think we can support teachers, and it won't feel like a major new initiative that seems scary. It's just dabbling with and becoming more familiar with that project-based learning and assessment. So revisiting this, and we talked about the pathways. Ultimately, I'm coming back to the original point here, is how do we get to graduation requirements? That's part of this discussion. Is why do we offer what we offer? Why do we require what we offer? Do we need to reflect on that and change that? I'm arguing that we do. How do we support teachers? I kind of went over. Our master schedule has been aligned this year, so we have common planning time in every department. So we're ready to make some of these shifts. And then I think, when you talk about evaluating staffing, the workplace coordinator is part of that. We're thinking proactively. We're taking the right steps. That position doesn't just exist in a vacuum. It's central to this, as I see it. So I think, to me, that's how I see the answers to those questions. And I've already, belabored these points. This is how I see the workplace coordinator fitting in. And the person who's being considered for this already has run our Seal of Civic Readiness, has extensive experience doing that. It was a smashing success within the social studies department. To expand that role into the other areas, I think her experience is tailored to this. Her passion for it is going to lend itself to it. So I think we have a vision here that's going to work and tie it together. And now ultimately back to the original point, which is the requirement. So you can tell I'm a history geek. Another quick history lesson. This is the state minimum. It's at 22 credits, and it's outlined here. Nothing super profound. And from an Oakfield point of view, our board policy says this. It looks like this was updated in 06. It basically says, you have to meet the state requirements, and you can go beyond if you so choose. And then in 2016, there was an update here. I'm guessing this came with the pathways from New York State. The principal then presented to the board this, and I'm only speculating that it was rooted in topics like more rigor, and we don't have to settle for the minimum, we want to do more. So you can note that they added a computer apps class. The idea then was computers are important. We probably were just shifting to one-to-one devices at that point. So hey, we need to support our kids with this. So one of the electives became computer apps plus another one, 24 total. And there was a third one presented. I mentioned these pathways exist, but nobody's taking them. So this was also presented that night. But to my knowledge, no one's pursued that here. The next update came when I was here in 2020. The then business teacher made a pitch to take computer apps and make it a half-year course. Totally made sense. He said some of the things that I'm saying. The course had kids are now embedding these things at every grade level. There was nothing new when they got to computer apps that they hadn't already got. So we made it a half-year course, allowed him to teach some other stuff. So by default, the new requirement became 23.5. And what I'm arguing for is that we should really look at that, and this is, like I said, super small recommendation, is that we just eliminate computer apps. This is the old requirements. These are what I'm proposing as a logical step in our evaluation on what we should offer or shouldn't offer. And you notice the things in red are what's different. This is part of the portrait of the graduate requirement. This is due this year. We chose to embed it as a standalone course, but you had options to offer these skills elsewhere. So to me, that would become one of the 3 math, but you still need 3 math. The foreign language, you'll notice, is reduced to 1 because you can pursue that with the biliteracy seal. And then really it's just any other 4 electives. So all this for half a credit. But you can see there's more to it than that to consider.
Yeah. Look, it's very comparable though, right? Like it's not.
Yeah, it's a pretty.
The financial literacy though would be a new, which
New.
I think is fantastic.
New
Honestly,
as
Can you go
well.
back to that
so
screen for a
needed.
second?
Yeah.
So really, as much
That's
as
huge.
it looks like it's a half a credit, in the big picture, what it really does is it formalizes the financial literacy that the state is really looking for.
Yeah.
It frees up the language with a second language. So if you are a student looking for your biliteracy seal, that's
Right.
the path you're going to take. But if you're not, we're not pigeonholing you anymore. And it really makes the electives stand out that you really do need 4.5 credits in electives, so that it kind of does that push to please pick a path.
But that's just that's the pathway push. Your elective credits
Yes.
right there. Like
Yeah.
that's the so where it sounds initially when you're presenting is just like woo willy nilly. We'll do whatever pathway we want to go, but really
Ultimately,
it's
you gotta check
4.5. That's it,
Yeah.
right? Like that you still have to go down and check all the boxes, but then your freedom or pathway, I suppose, to choose is the elective credits,
So
right?
if I want
Right.
some sort of STEM pathway, I'm getting the math and science. That's required.
Which kind of shows
So-
you people.
The
you
tech
asked
pieces
about.
might take over. I'm going to take Mr. Hoffines and some of the
Yeah.
courses down there because it more relates to that pathway.
My question is for the I know last year they didn't offer all the AP classes for that 7th, 8th grade year. How is that going to affect the kids now if they want to do those electives, are they going to be at a disadvantage without the AP class?
So the only AP class we're losing is physics. And we'll put out a letter, if we haven't done so now, it's got to go out at the beginning of the year about what all our options are for advanced placement in college level coursework. But not on this slideshow, but perhaps it's a future presentation, is the early college access course. So we're going to be able to partner with GCC to provide those college courses for free. And I see that as an option where, and again, I couldn't make it work this year, but we're going to also add Syracuse University to that partnership, and then we can really take off in regard to what we can offer. For reasons I can't get into like right now, it's just easier to partner with Syracuse. You can offer more.
So are the kids at that, I think they're going into 8th grade this year, that didn't have an AP option, are they at a disadvantage?
No, because all the kids in 7th grade, what we did differently, you might be referring to the math acceleration.
Maybe.
So right now, accelerated
So
science has been offered, math was not offered.
Math was not.
So
I knew one of them
the same.
wasn't offered.
Which is slightly off. Math was offered, but what we did is we waited until halfway through 7th grade to see
Make the distinction, right?
who was willing to accept enrichment and then be ready to tackle algebra in their 8th grade year. So we did have, I think there were 5 who eventually stuck with it and said, let's do it. So we have 5 8th graders, or 7th graders moving into 8th, who didn't miss a beat.
Good.
But
Perfect.
lots of more had the option to do that.
Awesome.
So is there still a benefit to taking those?
I see the biggest
Accelerated?
benefit for me for taking accelerated in middle school, and we need to promote this and keep promoting it, is you're looking now at the end of the journey. I need to free up room my senior year for calculus, so I have to take this now. That's how people should be thinking.
Okay.
It's not always the main focus on people's or parents' desire to get kids in that accelerated track, but that should be the first thought. Is why, right? Why am I taking it? And that's to free up time later for the more advanced stuff, physics, AP, calc, and that kind of thing.
Assuming that's the track they want to take, right?
Right.
So like if a kid is not
And that does,
interested in that area.
and that does happen. So even now we have middle school kids who say, "Well, I want to be advanced math." Well, that'll free up to take calculus. Yes, great. Well, look at the numbers when they get to senior. How many kids are in calculus? It went from 15 to about 4.
Right.
So it changes. It changes now.
Are there going to be standard seals that we have to offer, or is it kind of something like we can kind of formulate and kind of make our...
I like that question. So we know of the 2 seals. That's why I kind of use the terms interchangeably, the seals / pathways. So I think there will be a lot of local autonomy, that is new. That has not been the case for the last decade or two, to create local assessments and or pathways. But the 2 seals right now as they exist are only those 2 I mentioned.
We are slightly building the airplane in the air.
I expect this year we'll hear a lot of the guidance improvements will come out.
So are the two that are out there right now, are we required to offer those, or are we just choosing?
No. The state will every year they send a survey and say, "Are you offering it?" And if it's no, and I have to do this every year with this biodiversity, why not? Like they want to know, let's go, get on this.
Yeah.
And the lists grow every year. More and more schools are doing it.
I mean,
So
collectively.
it's something obviously you got to look at your resources and what we have,
Yeah.
right? And can we offer a seal, a pathway to the seal?
Yes.
And then that's where some more local customization might come in, is because there's probably not every school has an FFA, so
Right.
they wouldn't be able to offer that or go down that path. So
Right. They'll have their own within that realm of CTE, because CTE is where I think a lot of this will be really beneficial. And above and beyond what they do at BOCES, but some stuff you can do locally that I think is cool, particularly with ag.
Yeah.
What if someone wants to change their course? So I'm
I
going
like-
for
yeah,
this
these are
seal,
the
and then in 10th grade, I'm like, you know what? This isn't for me anymore. I'm going to change my major.
How I envision it is we already have some forms. The state puts out some templates, and I've pulled 2 or 3 of them, shared them with Heather Newton in the elementary school, with our counselors, with our proposed workplace coordinator, and I envision the workplace coordinator meeting with every freshman. Just to start. Eventually this will come, as they get into 9th grade, we'll have done this now, even at the younger grade levels. And then it gets updated every year when they do their schedule. Well, last year you said you were interested in a career in electrical engineering. Yeah, I've changed now, I'm really more into the arts now. And they would adjust that literally annually.
And there is a little wiggle room in the sense where there's the requirements,
Right.
but
It's
in
the
the end,
electives.
there's what the state requires and what the school requires. So there's a little bit of wiggle room.
So they're not going to be off track to the point where it could affect
I think they'll have options.
graduation.
Because ultimately their wiggle room is 4.5 credits.
That's
Right.
it.
Right? And in the
Which
end,
will-
it's really, which I want to say super loud, is 3.5 credits.
But what, there's no difference from the
Sure.
left to the right
If
as
it
far
comes
as the
down to
credit.
it, Yes.
Right.
The electives, excuse me.
Right.
The
Right.
electives are
Right,
still the
that's-
same amount,
right.
right? Like, so like, it's just a more focused choice of electives opposed to, hey, I want to take rock and roll history because there's this cool girl that's in it, like, whatever, like that's my pathway.
I think some
I mean, you're
students.
Right, like that was
you're
my-
changing
didn't
course
work out
with
yet.
4.5 credits, so.
Right. I think some kids will choose to do it a Regents. I think the advanced Regents will become a pathway. This is a Regents pathway. I took and passed all the exams. That might work for some kids. But ultimately,
There are
it's
some who will choose that.
for sure, especially early on because it's what they know. I think it's just a matter of how they'll just sequence their electives. And again, using electives sort of loosely here. This stuff is all going to be on there. It'll be how the counselors work with them to say, well, you took all these math courses. Here's how this can work with your science courses and the tech courses you took to create a pathway that we can endorse. Where those endorsements come from, I think we'll get more information from that this year.
I think my only other questions are bookends, right? So how does elementary prepare the kids? Like, does that change what's happening in the elementary to prepare them for this? And also,
I do think so. Some of the planning, like literally, like what your interests, but how that looks down there is, I'm a little unfamiliar with it, but I think it'll start there.
we know that. And then
So-
I think also college, like, you know, as we're looking at, are colleges also going to start adapting because regents are out, they're not looking at that anymore, so will this coordinator know what the colleges are looking for? Does that make sense?
It does.
So, you know, you graduate, you get your regents diploma, that goes with you to college, but now that's not there, but the seal is there, so will this person know?
I could see a scenario where colleges are looking at the transcripts more closely and saying, oh, you have a unique focus on the arts, well, where you happen to be a school of the arts. And that's how they might look at your competitiveness, your college or high school transcripts versus someone else's. At the end of the day, you have a New York State diploma.
I was gonna say.
Your grades
Yeah.
are going to tell a big part of the story. Your volunteer work, community service, the same way it does now.
Right.
There's just a slight focus.
And you
on
will see elementary is
concentration.
making a huge shift with this. It just looks differently because they're not taking credits. But the lift is really for the teachers because the delivery looks different. The end results look different. So now they'll do project-based learning. They'll do authentic tasks. Because you're not gonna turn
Sounds
a
like
light,
you do a lot
you're
of
not gonna take a light switch and ask a ninth grader, now shift how you proved what you learned in ninth grade.
And you're seeing it more through the science program right now through investigations because that's more performance based.
Exactly right.
And that's where you're going to see it in the elementary, where certain grade levels are responsible to do an investigation where it's a hands-on lab that is somewhat teacher supported but more inquiry based, more
Critical thinking.
outcome. Here's what it is, opposed to that pencil paper. I don't know how you'd see that impact in an ELA classroom or a math classroom per se. I still think you're going to be looking at the digital assessment for the time being. I don't know
Yeah.
how.
Well, even though they'll take
Agreed.
that, would you think during the class time, right?
During class time, it's different, but
You'll give a
I'm thinking-
presentation.
Correct.
all
The
those
poster
things.
here.
Yes.
Yes, something more tangible, something that you can pick up and hold. But I still think at the end of the day, we're far, far away from having an alternative assessment in ELA 3 through,
Right.
I would say 3 through 6. I don't know.
Exactly right. And that'll be sort of my message is like, don't panic. Like we're just starting slow here. Let's pick
I feel
a
like we do a lot
unit
of
you
that
like
already.
and
It's
do
very
a project-based
Montessori,
assessment with it and see how it works.
We do all that now in the elementary school.
It's just you got to be cautious when we say we already do that because, and I don't mean to jump on you, but I've worked with lots of teachers say that we've already done that. Really, no, you haven't. You
Yeah.
think you've done it until you really have made that shift. So, I'm not. You said it too, Matt. We've already done a lot of these things, but it's putting it into practice, developing the rubrics, analyzing the outcomes, coming back and doing it again. You'll find out, no, we really didn't do it that way.
Yeah.
Well, I
Like-
think there's a difference between.
Yeah, we've done pieces of it.
Like
Yeah,
more,
and
more
there's
to
a-
it than slapping a project.
That's right.
And it's
That's
very
right.
different than having the performance tied specifically to that thing without the subjectivity attached to what the project is that they're learning on. So there's a difference of the hands-on element of understanding the concept that way as a learning aid versus a performance assessment. And I only say that because I taught college courses, and in that, I'm a terrible teacher, by the way. Nobody wants to take that. But in that college course, a lot of it is performance-based, and it's really hard to grade someone based on the experience that you're asking them to have, which I think we do that part really, really well. But tying that to it is a very different experience, too.
And that's why I continue to say that for teachers, that will be the biggest lift.
Yeah, 100%. But I think they'll do great with it, and I can certainly see why this is a benefit for our students overall, and why this came out of feedback from those stakeholders that you shared. So thank you for walking us through all of this, because I know you mentioned the length of time, but this has been a really great comprehensive for me, so thank you. It's awesome.
Thank you.
Great.
Yeah.
Just one last slide to
Yeah, keep
ponder,
going.
because I think we'll come back to this discussion. Like, what are we offering? What should we be offering? For what it's worth, and take this with a grain of salt. My principals sometimes take vacation time over the summer, so only 14 responded. Of that data, we are one of two that go beyond the 22 minimum. Almost everyone. Some had 26 and they just went right to 22. So what we would want to avoid is being in a situation where if someone were to say, hey, look, I met my 22 requirements, but I missed one elective. You can't withhold my diploma. Like, I don't think our kids graduate with 27, 28, 29 credits. I'm not worried about saying 23, but we might want to revisit in the future. Like, do we want to just keep it at 22, focus on what matters, the pathways? But I thought this was a nice spot to start. Clean it up, computer apps out, go from 23 and a half to 23.
Were you saying policy update from that 2006 policy that we put out?
The policy
Change
was
the language.
very
Yeah.
open-ended. The presentation that I found was just like a recommendation. I don't think it was even voted on.
Right, I don't think.
It just was. It goes into the student handbook as such, and we support that.
Okay.
So I'm making the recommendation that we update our student handbook to 23 credits. But food for thought. We're only one other school that I know of is going above the 22.
We're not, I don't think
It's
it's
not in
included,
here.
it's not policy, I think your policy states that you follow your state.
Right.
He's looking for support of the recommendation to change rec.
Oh, yes.
He's just looking for your support. Now, I just want to go on record to commend Matt. So he took the bull by the horn, so to speak, and really ran with this. He's been incredibly passionate about Portrait of the Graduate. I will say that this is probably one of the most informative presentations I've seen on Portrait of a Graduate. So kudos to you, Matt. You did a really nice job laying it out. He came to me and we had lots of discussion about it and his ideas. He has been very forward-thinking in the Portrait of a Graduate and how to roll it out. We do have, as you saw, a decent time frame, but the path is in motion here, and I think it really has a lot to do with his instructional leadership. So I just really wanted to give him a plug because he worked really hard on this. He's been working on it for a couple weeks, and he's really excited about it. He's gone to a couple workshops that I'm going to talk about later on that had to do with the position he talked about and some other opportunities our kids are going to have. So really great job.
Yeah, thanks for having me. More to come.
Thank you.
A lot more to come.
This was great.
Thank you, Matt.
Awesome.
Yeah, a ton of great.
It's hard to talk about a path when it doesn't exist, right? And that's where you've been for the last. You've been talking about this for a while now, and it's just really.
I predict we will hear a lot this year.
Yeah, but it's very clear you understand it very well.
Very
You've got
well.
great
Yes.
context around it. We're in good shape and clearly in good hands. So thank you for doing that. It was really helpful.
Listening to you gives us the upper edge in the community, and it's really nice when people come up to me and they're like talking about the Regents Diploma in New York State standards, and I'm like, well, actually, our principal says, and it's so nice to have that.
How many of you have heard someone say, Regents exams are going away, what are we doing?
Yes.
Because that is the assumption.
Mhm.
Even my kids were in middle school, they're like, so we don't have to take anymore. It's not that simple.
Yeah.
There's more to it.
This is great. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt.
Thanks, Matt.
I wonder if we could have that even on our website.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have added, I thought I was going to bring this something, I just forgot.
No,
We have some information on our website.
Mhm.
It was just guidance from the state. I think Connie and I just put it on there, so.
Yeah,
hey,
it was
look,
that.
Check it out.
It was that.
So there is some
Circle
stuff on
one.
there. I think there's room for us to keep updating it.
I think it would be cool, like just like a
Mhm.
little tab or something that we have there. That's just as we get more information,
Mhm.
because this is pretty understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, this is
You
great.
did a
Well
really great
done.
job. Really
Yeah, it's
good.
really well done.
Mhm.
I know. Not to add more things to your plate, but I wonder for parents with kids in the high school or entering high school, if you could do like a mini version of it.
I like
for
that
those
one
are
slide that
interested.
has the
Yeah.
cohorts on it, even if that was posted somewhere, it's just because it kind of.
Once
Yeah.
that slide,
I think it
I
is.
stole it. I should have probably made note of which school. I said that. So I think parents were
action item.
You did send
Yeah,
that
I
home.
think so.
You
I
did
remember
definitely
seeing it.
send that
You did
home.
send it.
I have that hard
Yeah, I
copy
did
in my
too.
house.
Yeah.
I like the way they packaged it.
Yeah, it was great.
But even a link to this, like if Rob could do a snippet of this presentation, have a link to that would even be something that'd be very informative.
It's recorded. It's
Yeah,
up
here
there.
Yeah,
it is.
it
You just
is.
spent the time to do it, right?
Yeah.
Here it is. You could refer to that, or we could refer to that, to be honest.
And there's also a letter, the regional principals are crafting this to send home to parents, because this is the year where it's gonna start to ramp up.
Sure.
So even just sending a letter over that mentions the changes coming, and we can reference the video on the website, that kind of thing.
Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's great.
great.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, you created a resource, right? It's a shame just to put it in the closet somewhere. Like,
Okay, moving on. So 3.1, approval of the minutes. Be it resolved that the minutes of the July 28th, 2026 regular meeting minutes be approved. Can I get a motion?
Second.
Pete was our second, Maria's got it first. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Nope. All right, motion passes. Next, visitors' requests. Do we have any visitors tonight, Pete? No. All right, on to 5.1, warrants and internal claims. Sorry, I'm clearly in the middle. I turned some pages here. Got a lot of extra papers. All right, be it resolved that after an audit of the bills, payment of the warrants, and internal claims, auditor reports be approved. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Motion passes. No, all in favor. All right.
Aye.
Sorry. Any opposed? All right, motion passes. All right, we've got 5.2 treasurer's report. Be it resolved that the Board of Education approve the treasurer's report as listed. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Now we are on to the reports section. Who do we have here? Lauren. Oh, Laura's here. Jeez Louise, I skipped you right on here. I went right to Lauren.
There isn't a lot of exciting news coming out of the business office, which is a good thing.
Yes.
You know, I guess you don't want news out of the business office. It's usually we're either preparing for an audit.
No news is good news,
We're in
right?
the middle of an audit. We're doing state reporting. It's consistent things every month. So our audit is starting September 8th. That's for the year ended June 30th. So we're still preparing for that as a process. That's getting ramped up for the school year, same as usual.
Lovely. Love that. Well, no news is good news in that case. All right, Mrs. Carter, what do you have?
Okay, I want to congratulate our elementary school, our middle school, high school, and Heather Newton. They were all acknowledged on the Batavian as first place in their category for an elementary school, a high school, and then an elementary principal. I'm not sure what the qualifiers were for that, but if you did not see that, they were recognized for that. So congratulations to all three of those awards. That is awesome. Speaking of the Portrait of Graduate, so Matt and I also attended the ACT Work Keys workshop. So that is a really unique opportunity for kids where they can get a National Career Readiness Certificate if they participate in that. So Matt and I are doing some investigating on that. They have an opportunity through grants to possibly test all kids at a certain grade level through some grant monies. And if they do well on their test, they earn that certificate. And if they get a gold or a, help me Matt, gold or silver,
Yeah.
right? It's a great thing to put on a resume. So we are doing some investigating on that, and then it really goes into that TLE pathway. So it's another opportunity we're looking at for our school district. And we also brought the workplace coordinator position. So you saw that through his presentation. That is a position that you are appointing today. It is not part of our school district, so to speak. It is an independent employment contract, so it's annual. It does not equate to anything other than basically a stipended position to do the work yearly. And it will help connect with the work so that our students, Matt did a really good job spelling out some of the job duties, which have to do with connecting kids with internships, opportunities for authentic tasks, making those connections. So we're really excited to have that as an opportunity to really push this work forward. We have been working diligently on opening day activities. I'm saving that to the last, Mr. Troy. Opening day activities, so you have the schedule. The schedule was a work in progress for a couple reasons. I would say with the transition of leadership. So I really want to commend the OATA leadership and the union president and vice president. They were very collaborative and flexible working with their unit to work on the days. They had the days one schedule. There was paperwork for another schedule, and the administrative team had another schedule. So they were really willing to be very collaborative and be a work in progress. So we would really appreciate that. So a public thank you to them for working with us on that. So you all saw the opening day activities, and we're really excited about some of the things that we're doing and really start off on the right foot. And then we had a SOAR meeting with ELBA. So we had Maria and Jackie go with us. I would say the meeting overall went very well. A lot of new conversations popped up. So we started brainstorming some instructional activities long term. We don't have anything set in place, but what was really kind of took us by surprise really was really, so right now with our SOAR we have merged sports and then we have umbrella sports. I should really let JC talk about this a little bit more in detail than I'm going to. So I'm going to kind of look at him for a second and say, but 3 of our umbrella sports right now, they're not merged, so ELBA pays per student, so to speak.
And the program has really grown. So cross country, indoor track, and outdoor track have really grown to be a real partnership between both schools. Pete has done an excellent job in creating a family atmosphere, and they feel like one team. So right now, if we were to go from umbrella to shared in the SOAR agreement, really the only thing that would change would be the uniform. And we're at a kind of unique part of the transition where we're up for, in the near future, new uniforms. So we need to make a decision what route we want to go. And what is important to note is soccer and football were created and they merged initially into shared because neither could exist without the other. And while both teams could have those sports individually, they are much better together, and they wouldn't be getting the wooden blocks that they're bringing home without each other. So they really have grown into each other to be a really good bond and partnership, and I think it might be time to explore moving to that shared designation.
Help me out. What does it say on the uniform now?
OA Hornets.
Doesn't say OAE?
It does
No.
There is some.
But there
is some garb.
All the
that you will
swag,
see.
all the swag that is not school purchased
Like
says
yours.
OAE, like my
Yeah.
polo.
Yeah.
But that's because it's not school purchased. All the school purchased gear says Oakfield-Alabama.
And it's blue gold.
Right. Just the timeline of when the uniforms were ordered. It
So
was an Oakfield sport, but now that, like JC was saying, and like it was brought up at the meeting, it's, it's like a 50-50 now. It's not necessarily one's depending on the other, so to speak, but now's the time. If we're going to invest in new uniforms, a decision would have to be made now versus, and it is now,
Now,
right?
we
We're
have a
looking
little
at this year
We
potentially.
did have a little update to that.
Okay,
So I
you do,
have
okay.
been having conversations with ELBA. They're kind of at a standstill right now. So interestingly, because they brought it up,
Yeah.
right? So now they're at a little bit of a standstill right now. So I would say this is more to bring you in on the conversation to know that it was brought up. It's a possibility. We eventually are going to want to know where their board and their district stands and where you as a board and where our district stands on, do we want to go to the football model? Do we want to stay an umbrella model? And where our thoughts are on that. Currently, they're not ready to make a move yet, but we probably at this point are going to have our athletic department whole for at least this year. Because it seems silly to buy new uniforms if this looks like it's going to happen in the near future.
Yeah,
Because uniforms, you usually wait about 5 years before you buy them again. So it seems like it's a silly, not really ethical purchase if we look like we're going to be making a shift.
I don't see any reluctance on our end.
No, I am all for it.
I think the only thing is, are we going to standardize names? Like, I feel like for a while everybody had each team had this, like, everybody was coming up with different names.
I think soccer and football have both standardized on Aggies.
Now they have, yeah.
They
So
have.
then why wouldn't we just follow suit?
Yeah.
I don't know. That's a conversation we have to have.
Yeah.
So I think that would be one of my
I
things,
agree.
is like standardizing the
consistent.
name.
I agree.
Yep.
Because if we're partnering with the same school,
Right.
right? Like
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't think so. I think it's the cost that we need. We're not talking about 15 kids on a softball team. We're talking about 100 uniforms that would need to be purchased. So,
But that's it. And
You're-
like
that's
they're locking
expensive.
themselves in though, and that's the thing where when I first was on a store committee, there was sometimes that they would only combine with us when it was advantageous to them. And this would be a minimum 5-year commitment that I would love for them to be able to lock into instead of they used to do with baseball. They did.
I think volleyball too.
Yeah, right. And then they finally purchased the volleyball equipment. They said they're done with us, which is fine. But
Well, that just prevents the wishy-washy, like
right,
every
back
year
and
we're
forth.
changing
One
it.
is
Yeah, you
And
gotta have
it's
some
important to
level
know it's been a sustained program
Right.
with that partnership
Yes.
over a long period of time.
absolutely.
So it's not like
Yeah.
it's gonna. I don't
It's not like
foresee
it's
it changing.
Really
or
not much
moving.
of a change.
Right.
I didn't even know before I was on the SOAR committee that because the shirts were sometimes, I had
Yes.
no idea it was a umbrella. I just assumed it was.
Well, Pete has done a wonderful job
Yeah,
of
very excellent
assimilating
blend.
both of
Right.
the school districts as
Mhm.
one, and that's why I guess Lauren, I was confused when I misspoke last time when I thought it was on the uniform OAE. So I
It's on some
apologize.
of the other stuff that.
It's
but
on
that's-
all the other stuff.
everything.
It's on
but-
everything.
Swag.
Yeah.
The tents.
Everything.
The
Yeah, no,
warm-ups.
I just apologize. I close my eyes now and I see the gold
Yeah.
and the blue for the
Yeah.
Hornets, and absolutely. Yeah, it's just-
So just to recap this, Lauren, you're saying that now we're on hold for a year. So what does that mean for the uniforms that we were about to purchase like
We just hold
yesterday?
them?
We're
We
not
just hold
purchasing
We're
uniforms?
just on, so we wouldn't have had them before the season anyway.
Okay.
At the point where we were at, so we're on hold. We have a discussion about can we make it through a year and then look at purchasing them going into next school year to have the new uniforms if we're able to go down this path to be OAE.
So, and those uniforms are utilized for
All three
cross
seasons.
country, winter track, and spring track.
Correct.
So we're pausing this conversation until the 27-28 school year.
I think that depends on the two school districts. We're paused right now. If we got a green light from both, we could proceed, or
I
we could stay
understand.
paused until that is worked out.
But at least for the cross country season, we're
Yes.
saying that's not going to
And
be.
that
Got it.
the money for the uniforms was in the budget for this year. So,
So-
but even if we order them
Right.
towards the end of the year,
Yeah.
We can just forecast it.
Or
yeah.
fall or winter.
Yeah, so
Okay.
you're right. So it's
Mhm.
like yep.
Yep.
Good to know. That's all I have.
Good to know.
All right. Mr. Peterson, anything else?
I will just add that the schedule is a little later than it normally has been kicked out. We held off until we were firmed up on our staffing, what it would look like. So we expect to have it done by the end of this week and then share it with staff, and then parents will have access to the kid's schedule soon.
That's great. Looking forward to that. Mr. Montroy.
Things are going well. Football started yesterday. All the other varsity JV sports start next week, Monday. We've been down testing out the new press box, testing out for practice yesterday, running through, making sure everything works, the scoreboard's working. So it's an exciting time. We have the new Neptune system is up and running. They're using it for practice. It's working exactly as we had hoped, which is great to hear. All of our music is now filtered. Huge upgrade, and coaches are relieved. So it's a all win-win-win all the way around.
Excellent. That's good. We definitely don't want to do that.
Yes.
No.
Been there, done that.
Yep.
All right. Rob, anything on your end?
Just usual summertime stuff. Chromebooks are ready for the pickup for those that didn't get them over the summer. So looking forward to that opening. You may have noticed some more signs in the hallway. We have a new digital signage platform called Rise Vision, and additional signs and TVs out in the hallways. So it gives us a nice platform to put not just announcements, but sporting events and kind of the life at OA footage that we're putting up there. Even daily motivational quotes, just all sorts of stuff like that. So that was a thing we did a couple weeks ago. But yeah, other than that, just the usual summer camp stuff.
Do you want to speak about the little exciting thing that you're helping spearhead?
Okay, the Honorable Hornet. All right, so we felt that recognition for climate and culture is a very positive thing. We have, my son actually has a 3D printer, and we toyed around with some ideas of putting the Hornet logo with Honorable Hornet and the person's name on it. So we're looking at now 2 adult members of the community, not necessarily people on the payroll, but anybody in the community. We're taking this idea from another school district where anybody can nominate. We look at the nominations, and then we have 2 a month that we recognize. So we already have our 2 people chosen for September. We'll announce them soon so that they can come to the September 4 meeting. But they get a little plaque, they get recognition, they get on our digital signage, they can put on Parent Square. They embody all the characteristics of what makes an Honorable Hornet. So we took it from what we saw in the handbooks. We've had them for years. The mission and vision statement and 4 main characteristics. So it's actually on the website now. If you look under the community drop-down section, it says Honorable Hornet. And so there's a landing page there with a nomination form, and then we will grow that area with the 2 people each month. So by the end of the year, we'll have 20. And probably do some sort of special recognition at the very end of the year with them.
I love that.
That's great. That's
When you look at it, it's amazing. Grass does not grow under his feet at all.
You were going to mention that, Rob? What's wrong with
That's
you?
wonderful.
Huh?
Yeah, well,
Come on, Rob.
we were looking for 2 words started with H. So at first it was, we had Honorable Hornet, but then we also thought Humble Hornet, like someone that doesn't really get normally recognized for something. So between Honorable and Humble, we came up with Honorable because it kind of encompasses wide. So it should be good. We're hoping to get lots of people to submit recommendations, write up a little blurb about why. Because there are things we're finding out that we didn't know that about someone here and someone there and all these different departments that were like, yeah, I guess I really wouldn't have known about that unless someone brought that to light. So it's an idea to recognize people.
I love it.
Very
That's
cool.
amazing.
I can't wait to see this plaque. That's
Yeah,
exciting.
actually it's in my office now, yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
going to be cool.
I'll
Thanks
go
for
check
doing
it out.
that. That's amazing. I'm
You
excited.
can go get it, yeah. you can
Yeah, go get
Yeah.
it.
I see it.
We want to see it, for sure.
But don't reveal the names yet because we haven't.
It would be a
You'll
surprise.
have to blur it out. You'll have to.
Spill the beans.
That's right. Don't spill the beans.
That's
Thank
awesome.
you.
That's
Thank
great.
you. Awesome. All right, Jerry, do you have anything for us?
Nothing that we haven't discussed already with the construction. We're really close to being done, ready. We're waiting just science rooms right now and construction mess to get cleaned up. And other than that, I think the crew's been working their tails off this summer. So
That's awesome. Well, we're excited to see it all in action and ready to go for first day of school. So thank you all for the work you put into that, for sure. Cool. All right, we didn't miss anybody. Now we gotta wait to see the plaque though. Okay, moving into new business. Consent agenda 7.1. Be it resolved that items 7.2 through 7.7 be approved by consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
But just before we move on too far with that
Sure.
revised instructional calendar,
Yeah. I forgot that.
real quick there, Laura, can you talk about it real quickly?
Yes, I
please?
can. So the initial revision is a simple revision. We put on the required early dismissal drill on the calendar. It is wise and generally required to be on your calendar, so we have it on the calendar, so it's set and state in place. It's going to be October 16th, and then each building principal will relay the exact time that their students will be released. But now at least parents know when that will happen. We're actually going to also use that week as a safety drill week. So you will see things like evacuation drills happening. You will see bad weather drills happening. That might be a week if it's good weather. They might choose to do a fire drill. So they're going to actually focus that week on safety that week. So
And all of
Andre
which
is on
is
that.
in the code of conduct too, defined and
Yes.
all mandated.
Yep,
right?
so that is the initial, and since we were revising it anyways, at one of our earlier admin meetings, the administrators landed on when they're actually going to give the state assessments 3 through 8. So as opposed to having a window, we put the specific dates on the calendar since you were revising it anyway, so parents know exactly, please have your children go to bed early because this is the date they're taking the test.
Yeah, that's helpful.
Yes, don't go to Disney World that week, please.
Or a dentist appointment. That's
Yeah.
what gets me.
So then we added the specific dates since we had them.
That's good.
So it's the only half day
Yeah.
Yeah.
on the calendar.
It's not really a half day. Technically, you only have to dismiss 15 minutes early.
Right,
So
so it's
the
not a
principal-
true half
Like
day.
a-
It is
a
not a
2
half day,
o'clocker.
and you don't put your half days typically on the calendar. Doesn't mean moving forward for next year we can't. This is just you typically do not put them on your calendar.
Yeah.
Traditionally, our early dismissals have been at 2 o'clock and 3 o'clock, so, but that's not in stone yet.
So that's why the principals are gonna let them send
Yes,
letters
we'll
out saying
communicate
what
that.
time they will dismiss that day.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Don't hold them off.
Yeah, sorry to read that.
No, I'm glad you did that.
Oh, I'm
Sorry.
glad you did too, thank you.
I forgot about that one. The other one I wanted to call out too is the school cafeteria prices. So we
Yes.
are free again this year, but just the prices are published. Breakfast is $2 per meal, milk is 75 cents, and elementary is $3 with middle high school being $3.25. So just so that those are published for people. Thank you for putting those on there. Shoot. These are so cool. Sorry.
Don't give away the
I won't give
name.
the names, but
away.
they're really cool.
Nobody give
They're
away.
super
No,
cool.
it's so exciting.
That's
So,
awesome.
yes,
very
and we
cute.
will always annually make sure the
Amazing.
prices are there for you, A, to approve them, and B, that they are there publicly, because
They
we
increase.
never know when that's gonna go
Mhm.
away, and they also increase, and so imagine if we have free lunches for 5 years, and then all of a sudden they increase for 5 years, but we never notified anybody, that
Yeah.
increase is going to look huge.
Yeah.
So we just did not want that to happen.
Yes.
Good idea.
I like
I
free
like it.
meals.
Love it. All right. Okay, moving on to personnel, 8.1, consent agenda. Be it resolved that items 8.2 through 8.8 be approved via consent agenda. Can I get a motion?
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
I need to recuse myself of this vote,
Okay.
so I'm not
Have
gonna
it,
vote.
Fading Natalie's recused on this one. Any discussion? I don't think there's anybody in this one I'm gonna call out, right? No. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Perfect. 9.1, are any communications today? No. None tonight? All right, you've made it to the closing of the meeting. Closing remarks, we're gonna pass it to, we'll go Pete first.
You always go first.
Sorry, Maria pointed me your direction.
She always does.
Kevin's not here.
Well, I don't know if anybody else has actually had a summer. Like, I feel like
No.
it just is gone, right? But it's pretty exciting to think that. Will our next board meeting be the day before school opens? Is that when the next one is?
No.
No.
No, it's
After
the
school.
following week.
It will be the following week.
Mhm.
Okay. I was gonna say we should have the board meeting at Labor Days.
I mean, we're all there.
I'll pass on that.
Oh my goodness.
But excited to see the kids get back in here, and I think we have a lot of really good things going on this year, and kind of excited to get started in the year and just get the kids back in here and going. So happy short summer, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Pete. Natalie?
Nothing big. Very excited. I still have yet to have a summer. Have not gone on vacation yet. Will be next week. So looking forward to that. But I think most exciting is Portrait of a Graduate and looking at what we're going to work for now that this capital project is over. What is there to come? I know we're going to be sitting down and having those upcoming conversations. So community members, be on the lookout for that. So that way you can offer your thoughts and viewpoints in the upcoming capital project. I know this one was a big undertaking, but always looking for that community input to make sure we're on the right path to serve everybody's needs. So good luck to the kids going into school this year. I look forward to all of the drama club music, all the sporting events, and it'll be an exciting year with our new superintendent too.
Thank you, Natalie. Jackie?
Yeah, summer comes and goes. Tis the season. I like seasons. I like change. I think it's a good. I liked Lauren your message: reboot, revive, regroup everything. Right? I loved it because that's what it is, right? So looking forward to structure. I know my kids are. I love the band stuff is going on. Sports stuff's are going. I mean, it's just let's get back going. So I look forward to everybody. Good luck to everybody. Lauren, doing a great job. Good luck. Day one will hit, So everybody's doing great. So it's just been fun to see the progress. Great updates, Matt. Thanks for the updates. It's really, really beneficial and thorough. It's a nice visual on that too. So good luck.
Thanks, Jackie.
Yeah.
Maria, my turn. Yeah, I am super excited to slow down a little bit and enjoy the rest of August with my kiddos as much as possible. From my professional world, just a thank you to Oakfield School for allowing the Oakfield Park Rec to continue to come into the school on Wednesdays. We had about 95 kids this summer, and they're all Oakfield kiddos that came through the Park Rec program. We do hire 95% of the kids that we hire are Oakfield graduates. So it's a nice way to give back. It's like a nice give and take relationship. Heather Newton, the building and grounds crew, I mean, everyone was just fabulous to work with this summer. We weren't able to use the pool for good reasons, but you know what? We found other uses for the track. We were able to get on the football field. So there were other things that we did that we wouldn't have otherwise. So thank you very much for that. Looking forward to Labor Days. I know my kids are always so excited to see the teachers that don't necessarily live in the Oakfield community just down there and supporting. So I know my kids are pumped to wear their new kicks and see their teachers down there. Yeah, and I'm really excited for a new school year. I'm excited for a fresh start. Like this might seem silly to some people, but like this, I'm but this right here, like to me, like what a great way to start. Like this is, I hope that this is like the start of something really, really big because I think that we have a group of amazing people that work here in this district and that are in this community. And we said it at the last meeting, our main focus is not on dividing and operating in silos, but bringing the municipalities together in this school being the hub of the community, and I think that this is a step in that direction. So I'm excited to see more of that. So thank you to everyone who's making that possible, and thanks for the presentation. I've been waiting for this because it did not make sense to me, and tonight it makes sense to me. So thank you for that. I appreciate it.
Yes, you clearly demonstrated your teaching abilities. Matt, we got it.
Yeah. Thank you, Matt.
In the classroom.
All right, Justin.
It's funny as I sit here going into this year. My first year I was on the board, my youngest was in UPK and my oldest was a senior. And in that time, I've got my baby in 5th grade. She's the last one in elementary school, and the senior is about to graduate from a nursing program. And it's just hard to believe how many different connections that my children have made in that time period, and how grateful I am for each of them. There's another year where I'm just down to 3, but I know they're going to make so many great connections that are going to help them to find a pathway, if it's whatever it may be. And I'm just very thankful that we're heading in a direction where I hope to see just more positivity coming for my children and for all the children that come to Oakfield. And it's been interesting working with Lauren and fun, and it's really a pleasure. It's been a pleasure to be able to talk to somebody that understands what I'm saying. And I appreciate it.
I agree.
I truly do mean that. And it does feel funny sitting here in this chair.
Yeah, you're telling me.
Right, but I think people will have a better voice to listen to coming up on opening day. They won't have to listen to me and have a different message in a better direction.
You haven't heard it yet, so.
So that's all I got. Good luck.
Thank you, Justin. All right, so for me, it really, not a lot. I mean, thank you to everyone. I think it's been a very different experience to be in this seat. It might not feel like it for everybody, but Justin is obviously some big shoes to fill over here with all of his experience, his knowledge of education space. But I think this has been a really, just exciting time to be in this space. I really appreciate all the collaboration from everybody that has been in conversations. It feels like a much more open kind of, as much as we can be obviously, but like collaborative space that we're working in, and it's very clear that everyone has the best intentions in mind, and we're all trying to work towards common goal of what's good for kids and how we can get that accomplished and what is feasible given all the constraints that we're working within, right? And so information is power, and just the more we can share and impart on students and one another, and just have open dialogue and conversation, the longer term better we're gonna all be from it all. So I appreciate all the collaboration, all the effort that's gone into it, especially getting Lauren up to speed and in the door, and all the things that have happened on the part of everybody that's been supporting her adjustment here as well. So thank you to you all. Enjoy the rest of your summer, and that's really all I've got. So at 7:30 on the dot, be it resolved that the Board of Education will enter executive session at 7:30 for the purposes of personnel discussions.
So moved.
Can I get a motion? Can I get a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.